Have you ever wondered why some words cut deeper than any sword, leaving wounds in the soul that take years to heal? The truth is this: it's not just actions that destroy relationships, it's the words we allow to leave our lips. Today, we step into the wisdom of the Stoics to uncover the 8 things you should never say to women. These are not just casual phrases. They are poisons. They erode trust, respect, and harmony in ways you may not notice until it's far too late. But if you learn to master your tongue, if you learn to govern your speech as the Stoics taught, you will not only safeguard your relationships, but you will rise above the common man who is ruled by impulse. Before we dive deep, let me ask you something. How often do you reflect on the power of your words? Seneca once warned, "Speech is the index of the mind." What you say reveals who you are. And the way you speak to women, whether in love, friendship, or family, reflects not only your respect for them but also your command of self. In this series, we're not just talking about relationships, we're talking about philosophy and action. Stoicism was never meant to be theory alone. It's a practical guide to living, and today, we're applying it to something every man faces daily: conversations with women. If you can discipline your tongue, you can discipline your mind. Now, if you're ready to become wiser, calmer, and more respected, make sure you subscribe to this channel and drop your thoughts in the comments as we go along. Share which of these lessons hits you the hardest, because your reflection not only strengthens your understanding, but it inspires others on this same journey. So let's begin with the first 2 things you must never say to women. 1. You're overreacting. This phrase may seem small, but it can destroy trust faster than any betrayal. Why? Because in one breath, you dismiss a woman's experience, her emotions, and her perspective. It is not just words, it is invalidation. The Stoics taught us to respect the inner world of others. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." To tell someone they are overreacting is to refuse listening. It is to put your ego above empathy. Think of it this way. When a woman shares her feelings, she is not giving you a puzzle to solve. She is giving you a window into her soul. To shut that window by labeling her response as excessive is to say her soul is not worth considering. Next time you feel tempted to say, "You're overreacting," step back. Take a breath. Ask yourself, what am I trying to achieve? Peace or dominance? Instead of dismissing her, say, "Help me understand what you're feeling." That simple shift transforms conflict into dialogue, and dialogue into growth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone does wrong, it is because they are mistaken about what is good." Apply this to yourself. If you are quick to dismiss someone, it's because you mistakenly believe your peace depends on shutting them down. True strength lies in patience, not in silencing. When you learn to listen, you are no longer controlled by pride. So remember, saying "you're overreacting" is not strength. It is weakness disguised as authority. Never say it. 2. You're just like other women. Few words can pierce deeper than comparison. When you say, "You're just like other women," you reduce her uniqueness to a stereotype. You tell her she is not seen, not valued, not understood. And in that moment you become blind to the very individuality that drew you to her in the first place. The Stoics knew the danger of careless judgment. Seneca taught, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." When you compare a woman to others, you are not seeing reality. You are projecting your fears, your past wounds, your unresolved bitterness. You imprison her in the shadows of your imagination. Instead of making comparisons, practice gratitude. The Stoics constantly reminded themselves to reflect on what they have, not what they lack. At the end of each day, write down 1 thing about her that is distinct, 1 quality you appreciate. Over time, this practice will not only deepen your connection, it will rewire your mind to see her as she truly is: unique, unrepeatable, and worthy of respect. Epictetus warned, "It is not events that disturb men, but their judgment about them." When you compare, it is not the woman who is at fault, it is your judgment. Your inability to see her clearly reveals your lack of discipline over your mind. By letting go of comparisons, you free yourself from bitterness and create space for respect. So let it be clear, to say, "You're just like other women," is not just an insult to her. It is a confession of your own blindness. And as the Stoics would say, blindness of the mind is worse than blindness of the eyes. We've only just begun. Already, we've seen how dangerous words can be. Dismissing her feelings with, "You're overreacting," or stripping away her uniqueness with, "You're just like other women." Both reveal a man ungoverned by reason, enslaved to impulse. But the Stoic path is about mastery. Mastery of the tongue. Mastery of the self. In the next part, we'll explore 2 more poisonous phrases that wound relationships deeply, and how Stoic wisdom can guide us to speak with wisdom instead of arrogance. But before we continue, I want to hear from you. Which of these first 2 struck you hardest? Have you ever caught yourself saying them, or perhaps being on the receiving end? Share your reflections in the comments. And if this message resonates, remember to subscribe, because the journey to mastery has only just begun. In the last part, we uncovered 2 phrases that should never cross your lips if you wish to live with wisdom. "You're overreacting," and "You're just like other women." Both revealed how careless words can destroy trust and respect. The Stoics taught us that the tongue, once unbridled, can cause more damage than any storm. Words are like arrows. Once released, they cannot be pulled back. Now we continue. In this part, we turn to 2 more poisonous phrases. Subtle daggers in disguise, that men too often use without realizing the scars they leave behind. But with Stoic guidance, we can transform these moments of weakness into opportunities for mastery. 3. Calm down. On the surface, it sounds harmless, perhaps even logical. But telling a woman to calm down during a moment of intensity is like pouring oil on fire and then being surprised when the flames rise higher. Why? Because what you're really saying is, your emotions are invalid. Your expression is inconvenient. Be silent so I don't have to deal with you. The Stoics understood emotion differently. They never taught us to suppress it in others, but to govern it in ourselves. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Her emotions are outside events. Your reaction is within your control. When you say, "Calm down," you're trying to control what is not yours. You attempt to rule her inner world instead of mastering your own. That is not philosophy, it is tyranny. The next time emotions rise, don't say, "Calm down." Instead, lower your own tone. Lower your own pace. When you calm yourself, you create a mirror. The Stoics believed virtue was contagious, so is composure. If she sees steadiness in you, she will naturally find steadiness within herself. Epictetus reminded us, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When a woman is upset, her emotion is not the real problem. The real test is whether you can remain rooted, like a tree that does not bend to every gust of wind. If you fail, you prove you have not mastered yourself. If you succeed, you embody the calm you wish to impose. So remember, saying "calm down" is hypocrisy, for you are rarely calm yourself when you utter it. Instead of speaking it, live it. Become the calm you seek. 4. Why can't you be more like? Comparison, the silent poison. Few words wound deeper than when a man holds up another woman, whether a mother, an ex, a sister, or even a friend, as a standard of behavior. Why can't you be more like her? In that moment, you shatter her dignity. You tell her she is insufficient. You make her fight against a ghost she cannot defeat. The Stoics warned against envy and comparison. Seneca wrote, "He who envies others does not obtain peace of mind." To compare one woman to another is to practice envy, not gratitude. It is to be blind to what stands before you because your eyes are chained to illusions. Replace comparison with appreciation. The Stoics often practiced premeditatio malorum, imagining the loss of what they valued, so they could appreciate it more deeply while they still had it. Imagine for one moment her absence. Imagine the silence of her voice, the emptiness of her presence. When you return from that meditation, you will see her not as someone who should be more like another, but as someone irreplaceable. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste the remainder of your life in thoughts about others, when you do not refer your thoughts to some object of common utility." When you compare her, you waste your life in fruitless thought, chained to shadows that bring no benefit. She is not meant to be another person. She is meant to be herself. And wisdom lies in seeing her essence, not in trying to mold her into another's image. So never say, "Why can't you be more like?" For it is not only an insult to her, but a confession of your own blindness. We have now walked through 4 dangerous phrases: dismissal, comparison, forced calm, and the toxic measuring of one woman against another. Each reveals not only disrespect toward her, but a lack of mastery within yourself. The Stoics taught that every insult we give others is a mirror of our own flaws. And so it is here. But our journey is not complete. In the next part, we'll uncover 2 more phrases, subtle yet devastating, that slowly erode trust and affection. And more importantly, we'll explore how to replace them with wisdom, patience, and strength. Before moving on, I want to hear from you. Which of these 2, calm down or why can't you be more like, do you think is most destructive? Have you ever been guilty of using them, or felt the sting of receiving them? Share your reflections in the comments below. And if you haven't already, subscribe to join this community of men and women who seek to live by philosophy, not by impulse. So far, we've uncovered 4 dangerous phrases, 4 verbal traps that reveal a man who has not mastered his own impulses. You're overreacting. You're just like other women. Calm down. And why can't you be more like? Each of these phrases, while small in sound, carries the weight of disrespect and disconnection. The Stoics taught that mastery begins with the tongue, for the tongue is guided by thought. If the tongue is reckless, the mind is undisciplined. And so today, we continue this journey with the next 2 phrases, expressions that, though often spoken in moments of frustration, corrode respect, affection, and harmony if left unchecked. 5. Whatever. One of the most dangerous phrases in any relationship is not a long insult, but a single word, whatever. It is not loud. It is not violent. But it is deadly because it communicates apathy. It tells her, I no longer care enough to engage with you. Your words do not matter. The Stoics understood that the greatest disrespect is not anger. It is indifference. Anger, at least, means something still matters. But indifference is the slow death of connection. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." When you say whatever, you are wasting both your time and hers by pretending nothing matters. When you feel the urge to say whatever, stop and reframe. The Stoics often practiced pause before reaction. Marcus Aurelius would journal each morning, reminding himself that people would frustrate him but that it was his choice how to respond. Instead of dismissing her, say, I need a moment to think about this. This shows that you still care, that the matter is worth attention, even if your emotions need time to settle. Epictetus warned us, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. To truly listen, to truly engage, you must sometimes look weak in the eyes of pride. Saying whatever protects your ego but destroys the bond. Saying, let me reflect on this, may make you feel vulnerable, but it builds trust. Choose trust over ego. So let it be known, whatever is not a word of peace, it is the sound of surrender, the quiet abandonment of connection. Never use it. 6. You always, or you never. Absolutes are daggers. When you say, you always or you never, you take one mistake, one habit, one behavior, and you stretch it across her entire identity. You strip her of nuance. You reduce her humanity to a caricature. The Stoics would call this a failure of perception. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. When you accuse with absolutes, you are not seeing reality. You are exaggerating your estimate of it. Consider this. No one always fails. No one never cares. These are distortions of the mind, not truths. By using absolutes, you not only injure her, but you reveal your own lack of discipline in judgment. Instead of using absolutes, practice specificity. If something bothers you, name the exact moment, the exact action. Say, when this happened, I felt frustrated. This approach transforms attack into dialogue. The Stoics believed in precise speech, words that reflect reality, not emotion's exaggeration. Seneca wrote, "We are often more angry than the situation calls for, and we exaggerate our distress." Think of how often "you always" or "you never" is more about your own frustration than her behavior. These words reveal not her flaws, but your unwillingness to govern emotion. By practicing restraint, by seeking accuracy instead of exaggeration, you walk the path of wisdom. So abandon absolutes. Speak with clarity, not distortion. Speak with precision, not poison. And so we have added 2 more daggers to our list of words that must never pass your lips. Whatever, the quiet killer of indifference, and "you always" or "you never," the exaggerations that distort reality and reduce her humanity. Both reveal how careless speech is a mirror of an undisciplined mind. The Stoics knew that the greatest victories are not won on battlefields but in the self. And here the battlefield is the tongue. Each phrase we have uncovered is not just a risk to her, but a risk to your own growth, your own pursuit of wisdom. In the final part, we will uncover the last 2 phrases. Words that may seem harmless, even casual, but which slowly erode love and respect. And we will end with a Stoic reflection that ties it all together, so you can leave not only wiser, but equipped to live differently. But for now, I leave you with a question. Which of these 2, whatever or "you always/you never," do you find most destructive? And why? Reflect on it. Share your thoughts in the comments, and let this community grow in wisdom together. And if you have not yet subscribed, do so now, because part 4 will bring this journey to its powerful conclusion. In our journey so far, we've uncovered 6 destructive phrases, each revealing how careless words can damage connection and reflect a lack of mastery within ourselves. We've learned why saying "you're overreacting" dismisses her inner world, why "you're just like other women" strips away her uniqueness, why "calm down" tries to control what is not ours, and why comparisons like "why can't you be more like" poison gratitude. We've seen how the dismissive "whatever" destroys trust through apathy, and how absolutes like "you always" or "you never" distort reality and exaggerate judgment. Now we arrive at the final 2 phrases. These last words may seem casual, almost harmless, yet they erode the deepest bonds over time. They are the quiet termites that weaken the structure of trust. The Stoics remind us that virtue lies in vigilance, that a wise man guards his words with as much care as his deeds. Let's uncover them now. 7. It's not a big deal. To you, perhaps the issue feels small. To her, it may be enormous. And when you say, "it's not a big deal," you're not calming her, you're minimizing her reality. You're telling her, "What matters to you doesn't matter to me." The Stoics' new perception is everything. Epictetus taught, "What upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about the things." To you, it may not be a big deal. To her, it is. And wisdom is not in forcing your perspective, but in honoring hers. Instead of dismissing, validate. Say, "I see this matters to you. Help me understand why." By acknowledging the weight it carries for her, you strengthen trust, even if you still believe the matter is small. The Stoics practiced empathy not as emotion, but as reasoned connection, seeking to understand rather than dismiss. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that he was but a fragment of the universe, not the center. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. When you say, "It's not a big deal," you make yourself the center, assuming your measure of reality is the only measure. True wisdom lies in humility, acknowledging that what is small to you may be monumental to another. So never say, "It's not a big deal," because what you really say is, "You are not a big deal to me." And that is poison to any bond. 8. I don't care. Of all the phrases, this may be the most destructive. I don't care. Few words close the heart faster. Few words harden the soul more. For in those 3 words you erase significance. You tell her, "Your feelings, your concerns, your presence has no weight in my world." The Stoics warned us about indifference, not toward things beyond our control, but toward the humanity of others. Seneca wrote, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." To say, "I don't care," is to spit on that opportunity. It is not Stoic, it is cruel. When you feel detached, practice mindful engagement. The Stoics recommended daily reflection. In the evening, ask yourself, where today did I fail to care? Where today did I close my heart? By reviewing your apathy, you train yourself to respond with compassion tomorrow. Even if you cannot solve a problem, you can still care. Caring is not about solutions, it is about presence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The fruit of this life is good character and acts for the common good." When you say, "I don't care," you withhold the very fruit of life. You deny both yourself and her the growth that comes from compassion. To care is not weakness, it is wisdom. For in caring, you align yourself with reason, virtue, and humanity. So never say, "I don't care." It may end an argument quickly, but it will slowly end the relationship entirely. We have now walked through all 8 phrases, each one a small spark that can burn down entire bridges of trust. 1. You're overreacting. 2. You're just like other women. 3. Calm down. 4. Why can't you be more like? 5. Whatever. 6. You always or you never. 7. It's not a big deal. 8. I don't care. Each of these reveals not only disrespect for her, but a failure in ourselves. The Stoics remind us again and again. Control yourself, not others. Govern your tongue and you govern your destiny. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." And so, let your speech reflect the man you aspire to be. Measured, respectful, disciplined. Let every word be born of reason, not impulse, of empathy, not arrogance. As we close this series, I want you to reflect. Which of these phrases have you spoken? Which have you received? And more importantly, which will you commit to eliminating from your life today? Share your thoughts in the comments because your reflection may be the mirror someone else needs to see their own growth. If this series has spoken to you, if Stoic wisdom has sharpened your understanding, then subscribe now. Join this community of seekers, men and women striving to live above impulse, to live with reason, to live with honor. For this is not just philosophy, it is life itself. And remember, your words are not feathers that drift and vanish. They are stones. They either build foundations or cause cracks. Speak wisely. Live wisely. And as the Stoics would say, discipline your tongue, and you discipline your soul.